There have been several calls for government to distribute the ambulances to save lives across the country as needless lives are being lost due to delay in transporting pregnant women in labor and patients in critical situation who seek to access health facilities. It looks like the country would have to wait a little much longer as this time around there is a plea from the National Ambulance Service through the Ministry of Health to the Presidency to postpone the January 6th commissioning and distribution of the ambulances. In the build-up to the 2016 general elections, the then candidate Adodankwa Akufo-Addo and the NPP promised to revamp the ailing National Ambulance Service. In fulfillment of its promise, the first batch of ambulances arrived in the country in September last year, but were parked at the State House awaiting distribution, a situation which got many stakeholders calling on the government to hasten their distribution. The final consignment arrived in December and the President gave reason why the ones which arrived earlier were not distributed and scheduled January 6 as a date for commissioning and distribution.
The Minister for Special Development Initiatives, who's been responsible for bringing them, told me about a month, 6 weeks ago, that some of the ambulances were in, should she distribute it? And I said no, she shouldn't. She should wait till they all come in. So one day we can distribute them all at the same time to all 275 constituencies. I saw myself getting into a tremendous amount of issues if you started distributing some and others didn't get it. Fortunately for us, all of them will be in by the end of this month. 160 odd are already in, and the balance are on the high seas. They'll be here by the end of the month. The 300 will be there. On the 6th of January, I will commission them, and then the distribution will take place simultaneously across the country.
But National Ambulance Service has recommended a postponement to January 28. A letter written and signed by the Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Ahmed Zakaria, indicated that a number of preparatory activities which should have been completed prior to the commissioning and distribution of the ambulances are behind schedule. They include lack of training for staff and paramedics on the use of ambulances and medical equipment. The new date scheduled for the training is from January 13 to 20. Another reason for the request for postponement is the digitization of the ICT dispatch system, which will allow the routine of calls through a computer system which will automatically generate the digital address location of the caller to enable control center easily determine the nearest ambulance to dispatch. According to the ambulance service, tracking devices which are being installed in the ambulances to check abuse of their usage are still ongoing and will be completed in the third week of January. The other reasons are the delay in the completion of the service centers and labeling of the ambulances.
Initially, we heard that these ambulances were being delayed. The commissioning of the ambulances were being delayed. And people didn't see why the government should keep on delaying. People are dying and the ambulances are needed. So the expectation was that when all the ambulances arrived, they will be commissioned. If today we are being told that the president should hold on, for me, my personal view would be the president should commission these ambulances and hand them over to the Ministry of Health. If they have not done their homework by not training people beforehand, it's their cup of tea.
Because I heard the news that they were training personnel for the ambulance. Unfortunately, I heard the news also that the rest are in. So they are ready to be distributed this week, starting from Monday. So I wonder why somebody should call upon the president or the management of the ambulances to be adjourned to a month's time for distribution.
The National Ambulance Services, if they are going to use it and they say they need about 3 weeks, let the president have the patience, because he brought them for the good of the country.
With 130 ambulance stations, the entire country has depended on 50 ambulances as 100 others had broken down. A prompt distribution of the new ambulances could have averted situations like this. Some patients in critical conditions had to endure much more pain and could have lost their lives. It is, however, not clear whether the demands of the National Ambulance Service will be met. Joseph Armstrong, TV3, Accra.